Do you ever feel like living in your 20s is kind of a weird time because everyone is saying it's going to be the best years of your life, but at the same time there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of confusion, you try to find your path. Is it the hardest time of our life? I don't know. But I just turned 28 like a few weeks ago, so still have 2 years. From what I've learned so far, these are the 9 lessons I wish someone would have told me sooner. Let's get into it. Enjoy, but not only. Of course, you want to have fun, you want to leave your age, but at the same time, think about how you want your life to be. It's okay to not have it figured out in your early 20s, at 25, even at 30, 40. And that brings me to the next point. Take every experience as an opportunity to improve yourself. You see, I've always been surprised about this thing that happened to me. It was when I was in Australia in 2020 during COVID. And I was working on a farm, picking apples. So you have like a big bag in front of you. It's super heavy and you have to climb the ladder and it's moving, shaking, and then it starts to rain, but you still have to keep going. It's a very, very tiring job. This is something you have to do. Even if you do a hard job, you're going to start out in your early 20s, you're not going to start out by being the CEO of a company. The hard jobs teach you something. I was always surprised because I saw other travelers like me at the time that were working in the same farm as me. They're always finding a reason to complain about the fact that it's hard. It was a bad day, or there was something in this path that was going wrong for them, or the tractor, or there were always something. And I thought to myself, it's already difficult. By pointing out things that are hard, you actually make it even harder. Find a reason why you do that hard work. Maybe you want to learn how to be stronger. Maybe you want to have a certain amount of experience. Doesn't matter what you do, you always want to find things that, okay, it was difficult, I had such a hard time, but I learned this, I learned that, and I learned that. Lesson number 3, this is extremely important. Take as many risks as possible. This is the moment. You are in your 20s. You don't have responsibilities. Most people don't have kids. You can pretty much do everything you want for the next 10 years. You want to travel? Go travel. I've done that. Do not listen to the older generation when it comes to career. We have so much more option than we had before. Respect older generation, but take decisions by knowing what's going on today. You know there's so many options, right? But you've got to try as many things as possible so then you know what you like, you know what you don't like. Another thing that is extremely important is to learn how to control your emotions. I learned it the hard way. You need to control your emotions. Do not react. Some people are more sensitive to emotions than others. And if you are, you absolutely must pay attention and try to have some techniques that help you. Oh, when you feel a certain way, you need to know how to deal with it. If you feel sad, you also need to understand the reason why you feel a certain way. There's always a reason. Emotions are here to share a message. If you feel sad, why do you feel sad? Why specifically do you feel sad? Question yourself. Sometimes it's just one small thing, but it can trigger a lot of things. Once you find out that little thing, I realize that most of the time the emotion doesn't completely go away, but it slows down. This one is so important as well. Let go of the people who aren't supporting you. That's a tough one, especially when it comes to loved ones, especially when it comes to friends. But you cannot stay around people who are not supporting you. If these people don't want good for you, do not stay with them. Don't stay with him. Don't stay with her. I talked to a girl a couple years ago, and she was dating a guy that she didn't love, living in a city that she got bored of, and she was working at a job that she hated. That's quite tough. And then I asked her, after really listening to her, right, why do you stay with him? Why do you stay in this town? Why do you stay in this job? What was the most triggering was, I'm scared to be lonely. But I thought to myself, if you are alone, it would be the greatest opportunity to understand who you are. I know it's difficult to take these kind of decisions, but sometimes it's more beneficial beneficial to say no and hurt a little bit than keep on saying yes and being hurt yourself. You've got to learn how to say no at some point. When deep down you know that it won't go anywhere. Yeah, you will be alone for some time. You will find yourself, and then you will see you will get much better than you were in the first place. The sixth lesson is probably the most important one. By the way, if you like it so far, let it a thumbs up on the video. That I would really appreciate. And if you're new here, welcome. I invite you to subscribe. There are many things I will be sharing about improving your life. Find out who you are and who you are not. Yeah, that's a tough one. The only reason to enjoy, to have experiences, to travel, to take risks, to change career, to change transition, to have a few different partners, especially when you are in the Western culture, is to be able to know more about who you are. Sometimes you think you are a certain person, but then you realize that you are actually not that person. Once you know who you are, it helps you to know what you want. Once you know what you want, it helps you to know what to do. So that's extremely important. Now, the next one is take care of your health. You really have to take that seriously. I know you want to eat McDonald's. I know you want to drink. I know you want to try out things. But take care of your health as soon as possible. What you eat today will have consequences in 10 years. You don't see it right now. You don't get fat. Some do, some don't. This is the moment where your body is the strongest. And then you get sick or you get hangover. And in just one day, or even sometimes half day, you already feel better. But the seed you put today will have huge consequences. And time goes fast. 5 years goes fast. 10 years goes pretty fast. Make sure you take care of your body. Make sure you start with the breakfast, right? If you don't know where to start with breakfast. And then start to get interested about what is healthy around you. The healthy habits. Right? You need to go out and breathe some fresh air in nature. You need to exercise, you need to work out. Now the next point is expand your knowledge. This is huge because when you are in your 20s, very important to understand the world that is around you. I don't know if you saw this video when someone is asking, what do you know about the world today? Most people, I don't know, in their 40s, 50s, have a pretty good understanding about the world. And then the same people, they ask, how would you rate from 1 to 10 how you thought about the world at 20 years old? And most people say 3, 4, 5. But when they were 20, they thought they knew everything. I think we overestimate what we know and we underestimate what we don't know. You've got to be interested about finance, geopolitics, history. I know, like, school is boring when we are young. I never liked school. Honestly, at 18, I joined the workforce right away. But now, because you have that freedom, you don't have a teacher or you don't have a schedule, you need to learn specific things that people tell you should learn. No, you have that freedom. You can learn whatever you want, which is awesome. And you also have to develop your skills. That's extremely important because at the end of the day, what really pays off, it's not the number of years you have experience of something, it's your skills. Employers don't care as much about a resume. Resume is just a social proof that gives you an idea about the level of skills that people have. At the end of the day, what only matters is skill. All right, so now the last one, don't be afraid to do something new. Well, this is something I'm doing right now. I haven't done many talking videos. This is a challenge for me that you see just right in front of your eyes. As you can see, it's possible. Don't be afraid about putting yourself out there in a new situation. Yes, it's hard in the beginning. You're not good at it. It's going to take some time to practice, to get better at it. How do you think people run a marathon? Do you think they wake up one day and then put their shoes on and they run? No. They started by running 5 kilometers and then 6 kilometers. And then they did that for a while. Then, okay, I'm going to do the 10 kilometers and then half marathon. Whoa, that's awesome. And then when they're really ready, they go for the marathon. But it takes time, it takes practice. When I started making videos, I sucked as well. Starting sharing my first TikToks, pretty bad. It took a long time. 2 years ago, it took me 1 year to finally have some traction. I know it's difficult when you don't have anyone to push you, but I believe in you. I know what you're going through. Keep going.